Hey guys, Kevin Shaw here, editor-in-chief of Mopar Connection Magazine. It's almost 5:30, which means I'm about a half an hour late, which is pretty much on time for me, but we're heading out to go find an actual barn find, a real barn find, up in the middle of snow-covered Illinois. It's a car that isn't necessarily a muscle car, it's definitely a Mopar, and we're gonna walk around the car, and if it's the right one for us and it's not too rotted out, we'll be taking it home in a couple weeks. We're going without a trailer right now, but we're going up with a bunch of cash. We're gonna see if it's the right one for us. We got about another 8.5 hours to go. Okay, so what am I gonna go look at? Well, for the last few months, I've been poking around Facebook Marketplace looking at different cars and teasing myself with another project car. I've always had a secret, kind of buried love for the big fuselage C bodies, particularly the 69 through 72 Chrysler 300s. A long time ago, back when I was at Mopar Muscle Magazine, and the then tech editor, Dave Young, he called me to his house and he goes, "Hey, check this out. I want to show you a car that I just got." He just picked up a 1970 Chrysler 300H. And I had never seen one in person. In fact, I had never even heard of one. I was 24 at the time. And I just was struck by that wraparound grille and the long lines of the car. And I was like, this is like a big 70 Charger. I'm like, I love this thing. But that C body always stuck with me. So I've been poking around, looking at the different for sale ads and what's available. And there was this original 69 Chrysler 300 convertible. And it had some rust, but it was sitting in this farmer's Quonset hut where he kept all of his tractors and all of his equipment. And it was a sealed barn, and he closed the doors, and it was on a concrete pad. I'm like, okay, well, it's not sitting in the weeds, it's not up to its rockers and mud. All right. So I reached out to the owner. I said, hey, I'm interested. He had bought it off of an older gentleman who had picked it up in the early 70s from the original owner. He said he had everything together. The carburetor was off the engine. The engine would need a full rebuild, which I understood. He did say that there was some rust in the quarters, and that lips around the wheel wells were rotted out, and the lower quarters needed some work. But he couldn't get into the trunk, so he didn't know the condition of the trunk. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot. So I've got the money, I'm gonna drive up, I'm gonna crawl underneath the car with some flashlights, I'm gonna see what the floors look like, I'm gonna go see what the trunk looks like, gotta see what the frame rails look like. Oh, there she is.
Oh yeah, get the stuff off of it. The stuff belongs to a Lincoln Continental. Well, he had all these old Lincoln Continental Mark parts in there, and he goes, "Rich, help."
Get it out, get it out.
Yeah.
It is a true 1969 Chrysler 300 with the 440 TNT Chrysler motor, which was rated at 375 horsepower. It's a bucket seat, floor shift, center console car, and interestingly enough, it's an AC delete car, which there weren't a lot of Chrysler 300s that came with AC delete. It's got power steering and power brakes, as you'd expect, especially for such a big car. I believe it does have disc brakes up front, and it's got all 4 electric windows and an electric top. So there's a lot of really neat features on it. unfortunately, when it comes to C bodies, the hard part is you can't find parts. Now, there are some manufacturers who are making some seat covers and convertible top covers, carpet kits, some door panels on specific models. But when it comes to sheet metal, that's where you catch a lot of trouble. Because, unfortunately, if you want a floorboard, trunk pan, trunk extensions, quarter panels, lower quarters, all that stuff is really hard to come by, because honestly, you gotta find another rust-free car to sacrifice just so you can stitch the car you want back together again. So it's really a tough project to undertake. For us, it just wasn't the right time to jump on it. So we had to let that one go. But then again, if we do find the parts, if we find someone who's maybe got a parts car that they're willing to take apart what we need for this convertible, I might be driving back up with a trailer.